All right, so today we're going to be working on converting units of measurement. So we have our reference sheet over on our right side, and that's what we're going to be using to find all of our ratios. Some of them we might know, like 1 foot is 12 inches or 1 yard is 3 feet, but some of them we might not know, like 1 pint is 2 cups. So this is a really good reference chart for us to use throughout this project to make sure that we're getting it right every single time. So the first one says 9 feet is equal to blank inches. So we're going to go ahead and set up our ratio table. And the two forms we're working with is feet and inches. So I'm going to put F and I. You can put FT and IN, it does not matter. What we're going to do in this first section is we're going to find the ratio from our reference material. So we're going to feet in inches, and I find that on the length section under customary. So 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So I'm going to come back over here, and it says 1 foot. So my 1 goes with my feet section, and 12 goes with my inches section. I need to get to 9 feet because that is our goal. So I'm going to put the 9 on the feet as well. Now we're going to try and solve through to see how we could get our answer. So I know that this is a unit rate because it has a 1. So I know that I can multiply it by the number I need to get there. So 1 times 9 gives me 9. And I'm going to do the same rule on the bottom. 12 times 9. Which if I look at my multiplication chart, gives me 108. So if I have 9 feet, that would be the same as 108 inches. Now we're going to look at number 2. We have 400 cm, that stands for centimeters, is equal to blank m, that stands for meters. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use the metric side. And metrics are actually a lot easier because if you look at your reference chart, all of them have a change with zeros, which means that we don't really actually have to do a lot of multiplication here. We can just change the number of zeros that we're needing. So let's go ahead and set up our ratio table. So we have centimeters and meters. So cm and m. We're going to find the ratio for the first piece on our reference chart. So we're talking about centimeters and meters. Those are measurements of length. And those are, nope, that's millimeters. Be careful. Meters and centimeters is in the middle right here. So it says 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So I'm going to put 100 with my centimeters and 1 with the meters. That's the biggest concern here, is to make sure that you put the right number with the right label. So our goal is to get to 400 centimeters. So we have to find how to get from 100 to 400. Well, luckily we know this one pretty easily, that 100 times 4 is 400. So we're going to use that same rule down here. So 1 times 4 would be 4. So 400 centimeters is the same thing as 4 meters. We're going to go ahead and do one more together, and that is 3a. We're going to do, it says 6 feet is equal to blank yards. So we're going to set up our ratio table. Feet and yards. I'm just going to use Y for yards. And then we're going to look over at our reference paper to see what our ratio is for that rule. So I'm finding the one that has yards and feet. This is both in the length again. So yards and feet are the second one under customary. So it says 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So remember, 1 yard, 3 feet. It goes in the correct position based on the labeling. That's why the labels are so important. So our goal is to get to 6 feet. So the way that we would get to 6 feet from 3 is to multiply by 2. So that rule we're going to use on the bottom. So we're going to take 1, multiply it by 2. 1 times 2 is 2. So that means if I have 6 feet, that would be the same as 2 yards. I know right now you're probably thinking, well, I know how many feet and yards and inches, and you could just do the math simply in your head, and we're basically doing the same thing. But when it gets to harder or different versions, especially when we talk about our volumes and our weights and masses, then it's going to be a little harder for us to remember how to do that by our brain. So we have to pay attention to how we do this. Setting up your ratio table every time is super helpful because it makes sure that you keep it consistent and you know exactly what you're doing every single time.